Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Andrea. It's nice to have you guys here. Yeah, I'm really bad at these introductions when I do a sit-down video. I normally do vlogs, but hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a self-published indie author. I'm also a full-time writing instructor, and on this channel we talk about all kinds of things, but one of them is often books and writing related, particularly self-publishing and my work as an indie author. And it's been a little while. It's been a hot minute since I've done a designated kind of self-publishing update and talked about where I'm at with things and what my plans are. And I just kind of thought, you know, I've got a new book coming out very soon. This might be a good time to do it. So that book is, by the way, Brave Together. My proof copy has arrived. Isn't it beautiful? I'm still in love with it. Like, I'm still in that like new book baby stage where every time I look at it I just get a really stupid grin on my face. So Brave Together is book 3 in my Across the Pond series, which is my London-based romance series. I love this series. I'm excited for this book to come out. As I am filming this, I have not released the release date yet, but as this video is going up, I think I have released it. So the release date, this book, at long last, is going to be out April 25th. If you want to find out how to know when to get this maybe a little early, sign up to my email list. There's a very specific way that I do my launches on Amazon that means some people can get access to it early if they know when to look for it and what to look for. Basically, the email list subscribers will get that advance notice when the book is available. Otherwise, April 25th, it will be live. I will be posting all about it on social media, so mark your calendars. I know for some of you it has been a really, really long wait since book 2 came out. Just for reference, A Brave Start is book 1, Brave With You is book 2. These are both available now on Amazon in both paperback as well as in Kindle, and they're both available to read for free if you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber. So it is not too late to get started. If you are watching this when it goes up, you've got 2 weeks to read the first 2 books if you want to read the third one when it comes out. So I would love you forever and be very grateful if you did that. So yeah, with this book coming out, that's kind of big news number 1. April 25th is officially the launch date for Brave Together. I'm still getting used to saying Brave Together because it feels like for so long I've been calling it Across the Pond book 3, and now I can say Brave Together. So I'm really, really happy and excited to have it out. I can't wait for it to launch. I'm still formulating all of the launch plans, but there will be some things coming up, including, I will mention it now because again, it should, if it hasn't gone live yet, it will go live soon. I will be putting the first 2 books on a Kindle countdown deal. Keep your eye on Amazon for that. Keep your eye on Instagram. I will be posting information as well as to the email list once those sales are live. I really want to do that to celebrate the launch and to also give people access to the first 2 books before they read the third book. So that's coming. That's kind of the big announcements for Across the Pond and for Brave Together, but I did want to spend some time in this video talking about other updates and news and future plans and things like that that I wanted to just kind of talk about, that I've been referencing and like touching on in the vlogs, but it just felt like I probably needed to just have a proper sit-down chat with you about my writing plans and what's going on, because Brave Together did get really, really delayed, and so that has now delayed all of my other plans, and so I'm trying to now get things back on schedule and back on track and back moving, and so that's kind of what I want to talk about. So diving into that, Brave Together, launching soon. Some people I think are now wondering what is the future for the Across the Pond series. The short answer is it's going on pause for just a little bit, so there will not be another Across the Pond book coming out at the end of this year. Typically, the first 2 books both came out in December of 2019 and 2020. Book 3 was supposed to come out in December of 2021. That didn't happen. It then got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and then delayed some more. This semester has been really rough with teaching, and so my full-time job schedule has just been pretty intense, and I haven't been able to focus on it. There were also a lot of just writer insecurities and doubts and a lot of second guessing that really delayed the editing process and feeling like it was done and ready to move into the final stage of pre-publication. And part of that was because I kind of, over the course of working on it, realized I really didn't have a solid idea for the plot. Not in the way that I did for books 1 and 2. And book 1, I took several years to write the first draft of book 1. And so by the time I moved into editing that in 2019, I was pretty solid on the story. I was happy with the story. There weren't any big changes that needed to be made. With book 2, by the time I finished editing and publishing book 1, A Brave Start, and started working on Brave With You, I also kind of knew what the main plot was going to be, what the main conflict was going to be, who the villains would be, you know, what the big reveals would be. Like, I kind of knew all of those important plot points. With book 3, without spoiling anything, there were 2 things I knew I wanted to happen by the end of the book. And other than that, I really didn't know what the story was going to be. So I feel like I'm typically a plotter. I normally plot everything out, and I know all the major beats and all the major plot points on the story arc and all the major like character developments. I normally have a lot of that sorted out before I start actually writing. I am a huge advocate of outlining. I usually create what I call super outlines. One of the things that I struggled with was I did have a super outline, but I didn't feel very comfortable. So like, I think I had like a 20,000 word outline, which usually my outlines are between 15 and 20,000 words. And so I do really know what I'm doing, but there were still some big holes and things. I'm like, is this really dramatic enough? Is there enough narrative tension in this? Is there enough, like, is the pacing good? And I feel like I'm happy with how it ended up. I feel like we got it there in the end. And I had some amazing beta readers, a couple of whom read the book 2 or 3 times. Most of my beta readers only read it once, but 2 or 3 of them I think read it at least twice. And I'm pretty sure my friend Janelle read it at least 3, if not 4 times. Janelle was the one who I kept texting, like, can you read it just one more time? Just one more time? No, for real, just one more time. I just need to know. But the delays were partially from just feeling like I didn't really know what I was doing with the story. At the same level, I think I was comparing how I was feeling about book 3 to how I felt at similar stages with book 1 and 2, and I wasn't as confident with book 3, and it wasn't necessarily because book 3 wasn't as good as 1 and 2 were at similar stages. It's just I didn't feel as sure about it, and so that was leading to confidence issues. But then we're also still living in a pandemic. I kind of towards end of the summer of last year realized I was really burned out. I thought in this last spring of 2021 that it was just normal burnout of teaching and my normal schedule making me really exhausted, and then got into the summer, was still really pushing myself to get a lot of work done and realizing I wasn't resting as much. And so I went into the fall semester just as burned out as I had been at the beginning of the summer, which is not ideal. And so working on the book was a big challenge. And so now that book 3 is done and is coming out, I want to write a book 4, and book 4 won't be about Eleanor. So the first 3 books kind of are going to form a little trilogy within the series, and book 4 will start to spin out and spin off to all of Eleanor's friends. I'm not committing to anything, but I'm like 90% sure book 4 is going to be about her cousin Jonathan and Jonathan's girlfriend Celeste. They are characters that you will see in the first 3 books of the series. And so the first 3 books are about Eleanor and her relationship, and then book 4 will now start to kind of explore more of Eleanor's friendships. And Eleanor will still be involved. You will still see Eleanor and her boyfriend and all of that good stuff. You'll still see them as a couple in book 4, 5, 6, and so on. But they are now going to be more of the secondary characters, the way that characters like Jonathan and Celeste or some of Eleanor's other friends in London have been in books 1 through 3. The roles are going to kind of reverse in a way. And so I'm fairly certain it's going to be Jonathan and Celeste. I really want to tell that story. I just don't know what that story is. And I'm getting ideas, and so I'm feeling very encouraged that now ideas are starting to come to me. And one of my goals over the summer is going to be to kind of start writing those ideas down. I will start a Scrivener. Oh, this gives me a good idea. I've been wanting to do a Scrivener outlining video and how I outline books for Scrivener. This might be a good book to do that with. So I am this summer going, and probably now earlier in the summer, like probably May, I will start a Scrivener file, kind of get the general structure down, and just start slowly filling that in the way that I outline. But I'm not committing to a writing schedule or a launch schedule, release schedule for that book until I feel like I know the story. So there will be a book 4, there will be a continuation of the series. You will still see more of Eleanor, but you'll also start to get to see more of her friends and their romantic adventures in London. We'll keep the series in London. And I haven't ruled out another completely like designated book featuring Eleanor with her back as the main character, but I think there will be at least 3 books without Eleanor as the main character, with Eleanor in more of the secondary supporting role before I go back to her as a main character. I feel very attached to Eleanor and the relationship that she develops, and I'm really happy for them as a couple. And I think part of my problem with book 3 was I just didn't want to keep torturing them. They go through a lot in book 2, and I just didn't want to keep messing with their lives. I just wanted their lives to be easy and calm, which does not make for a very engaging book. So I feel like I want to leave them alone for a few books before I throw a wrench in their lives and give them a new challenge to deal with. So I haven't ruled it out. I've got some very vague ideas for their story, but I feel like we're probably at least 3 books and a few years off from that happening. But in the meantime, I am getting some ideas for their friends and things that I can put their friends through to make for good, juicy stories. One of the things I'm learning as a self-published author is I think, even though I thought I was approaching it as a marathon and not a sprint, I still had set my pace too intense. I was trying to do too much, too fast, and it was just pushing me in a way that I just creatively really couldn't push myself. And I'm noticing that now that I have taken some of that pressure off, ideas are starting to really flow. And so I think it is better for me to scale things back. In the meantime, certainly while I'm still recovering from burnout, which is not a quick process, starting my business, all of these other things, working full time, the writing, I'm realizing just I can't push myself because it makes me not enjoy the process, and then I don't fully trust the end result, the end product. You know, part of the reason book 3 was delayed was because I wanted to trust the book that I was putting out. I wanted to feel like this is a good book. I stand by this book. I believe in this book. And even if someone doesn't like the story, I do. I didn't for a little while. I fixed all those problems. I now really like the story and really believe in it, and I'm hoping, I know it will find its audience. I'm now at a point where if someone doesn't like it, that's okay. And that's how I felt about books 1 and 2, and that's how I felt about the Bookshop of Possibilities and More Than Fate. Like with all of my books that I've put out, by the time they got to the point of publishing them, I loved and believed in those books and still do so much that if they do get a negative review, it really doesn't bother me because I can just say, this book wasn't for that person, and that's okay. So it took me longer than I expected to get to that point with Brave Together. Got there in the end, but I definitely don't want to go through that and put myself through that difficult process again with book 4. I wanted to feel confident in book 4 from the beginning. There's always questions you have as a writer. You don't feel 100% confident about your idea at the beginning of the writing process, but throughout the writing process your confidence should increase, and I felt like for a while with Brave Together my confidence was decreasing, and that's not a situation I really want to be in again. So there will be a book 4, and I will start doing some pre-outlining for that this summer, but it's definitely going to be on a bit of a hiatus. There's a lot of marketing I want to do for the first 3 books. There are some bonus scenes I want to write, and those will be going up as soon as I can manage them, hopefully later this year, as free short stories for subscribers of my email list. So I will let you know once that happens. But there's things like that that I also want to be working on before I dive headfirst into continuing the series. I want to kind of get the first 3 books kind of at a good point in terms of them finding their audience and getting out there more and increasing their visibility. Other than across the pond, this month I am participating in Camp NaNoWriMo. I've set a goal of 12,000 words, and I am working on book 2 of Independent Hearts. So book 1 is the Bookshop of Possibilities. Book 2 will be coming later this year. If I want to publish one more book this year, and I think I can do that without overwhelming myself. So I want to publish one more book, and that book will be book 2 of Independent Hearts. I don't have a title for it yet, but I do know... Do I want to tell you this? I'll tell you this because it's going to be too hard to keep the secret long term. Book 2 is going to be about Lydia. So the main character of book 1 is Kate, and Lydia is Kate's kind of best friend when Kate moves to the town of Olsenburg in Wisconsin. Book 1 is about Kate's adventure and her journey to keep Kimbrel's bookshop going. And so the goal for this series is every book will be a different main female character based around a different small business in the fictional town of Olsenburg. And Olsenburg is based on a small town in southern Wisconsin where my own family is from. And so it's a fictional town, but it's based in very nostalgic and positive memories of a real place. And I'm absolutely loving being back in Olsenburg. So book 2 is going to be about Lydia and her family's business, the local pub and inn called the Silver Stag. So Kate and her main guy from book 1 will still be in book 2. All of the characters that you met and fell in love with from book 1 will also be in book 2. It's just we keep revolving and shifting who is the main focus. So for book 2 it'll be Lydia. So I have about 13,000 words. I've got 13,054 words so far in my outline. So I am averaging about 400 words a day, or I'm doing at least 400 words a day throughout the month of April for Camp NaNoWriMo. Some days I've done up to 1,000. My outline is increasing, so I'm working on the outline. So that's 13,000 words of my outline. I haven't started writing actual like scenes and dialogue and things like that yet, but I think by the end of the month I will be starting to write chapter 1. I might even get the first 2 or 3 chapters done by the end of April at the rate things are going. Feeling good. I'm getting lots of ideas. I definitely am having more ideas since I've started working on it, so picking it back up, refreshing my memory on where I was at the last time I worked on this. So I would have started working on this, when did I create this file? September 6th of 2021. Probably right after I uploaded book 1 to KDP is usually when I create the file and start working on the next book, because once it's uploaded it's just a waiting game. I don't have a title. I don't have a specific release date. I don't even really want to commit to a month yet. Book 1 came out in September. I'm thinking this one might be slightly more October, possibly November, hopefully no later than December. I already can't wait to start writing it. I've told my friends Janelle and Cheska, who absolutely loved book 1, that I'm hoping to have a draft for them to read by the end of June is what I'm aiming for, if not sooner. So they always get to read the really early, really rough drafts, and then I do some editing before I send it to the full beta team. So I am aiming to have a full draft. I think my deadline in Scrivener right now is counting down, yeah, to June 30th. I'm only doing about 400 slightly more words a day, so my word count on Scrivener is slowly going up because it's telling me like right now I should be writing 1,388 words a day to meet my deadline of June 30th, but I can't commit to that every day right now. So I'm writing as much as I can throughout April during Camp Nano, and then when Camp Nano ends, it will be May and the semester will be done. And so at that point, I can ramp up my writing time every day and I can do 1,500, 1,600, 2,000 words a day if that's what I need to do. I was also thinking it might be interesting. I've seen some people do, other writers on YouTube do writing 10,000 words in one day. I've done 5,000 words before in a day. I've never done 10,000. So that might be something I do as a vlog in May to just see like, can I do like a really big writing day like that? So yeah, I think I can make up some ground and get it done by the end of June for sure, if not slightly earlier once the semester is done. So Camp Nano has been a great experience to get me back into a daily writing routine, even if my daily word count is lower. 400 words typically doesn't take me much more than 30 minutes, if even that some days. Depends on how fast the words are coming. So I'm getting back into that daily routine of sitting down and writing, and I'm really enjoying that. So that's kind of the update on Independent Hearts and where I'm at with Camp Nano. I'm trying to kind of keep a record of Camp Nano. Obviously, if you're doing camp and we're not buddies on NaNoWriMo, feel free to look me up. I think I'm just Andrea J. Severson on there, so you can track my progress, and I'd love connecting with other Camp Nano writers. But if you were following, if you've been watching me for a little while, you know there is another series I was starting. I do have a royal romance series that I am starting to develop and that I had started writing. It is fully outlined. I think I was up to chapter 5 or 6 during NaNoWriMo back in November. I got 10,000 words added and, like I said, a good couple chapters written, a few chapters written. So I'd made a lot of progress even with November and how stressed things were. I was still making good progress on that, and then in December everything just kind of stopped and I was focusing entirely on Brave Together, and then just had to kind of really stop and take a break over winter break from work, and then the priority has just been Brave Together ever since. Now I want to get back into that. So basically I feel like I can definitely publish at least one more book this year, and that might be the limit. That's really all I'm like pushing myself for. But I still want to get the Royal Romance series, book 1 of that series, as far along as possible by the end of the year. So I am still going to be working on that alongside book 2 of Independent Hearts. So I want to get back to that series, and so I think after Camp Nano is done, after the semester is done, I think starting in May, I'll go back to writing that one alongside writing Independent Hearts. I don't normally write 2 books at the same time. Normally I'm outlining one, writing another, or writing one, editing another. But I think I'm going to keep like just really slowly writing the Royal Romance series while I finish up writing Independent Hearts, and then I'll pick up writing in a more concentrated effort with Royal Romance once I move into editing Independent Hearts. So I'm just kind of not stopping. I don't want to stop Royal Romance completely, but I'm kind of slowing the pace of that one way down and speeding up Independent Hearts, and just kind of like they're cars on a road. I'm letting Independent Hearts pass. So I'm just letting it pass Royal Romance on the highway, and it's going to get to the destination sooner, but they will both still get published probably within a year from now. Originally the plan was to publish Royal Romance next month, which is not obviously going to happen, but if I had continued working on it at the original pace I set, I would be preparing to launch that one. Brave Together would have come out in December. Royal Romance was going to come out in like May or June of this year, and then Independent Hearts Book 2 was going to come out in like September, October of this year. And so now Brave Together is coming out in April, Independent Hearts will come out in like October or November, and Rural Romance will probably come out February, March, or possibly April, May of next year. And I'm happy with that. I think that's fine. I'm excited. There's lots of good things coming up. That's kind of the update for now. Other things to think about. There's still long-term plans. There's still things I'm learning. There's things that I will talk about and share in future videos. There's going to be future videos coming up very soon. I've got a lot of self-publishing, writing, editing, outlining related videos that I've been wanting to film, and it's just been really hard to film with the semester and just with how tired I'm feeling and everything I'm having to balance. But once the semester is done, I think I want to also do just a general Q&A as a self-published author, like, so I'll be asking for questions for that. So I've got a lot of videos planned. I just need the energy to film them. And then obviously in the vlogs, with Book 3 finally coming out, with the semester wrapping up, I feel like the vlogs have not been as writer focused as they've been in the past. It's just been me trying to survive life. But I think there will be a lot more writer content, indie author content weaving its way into the vlogs, because that is going to become a much bigger part of my daily life again, and I have really missed it. I think that's everything I had to say, and this video has now gotten really long. This is why I did this as a separate video and didn't try to put this into a vlog, because I knew I had a lot to say, and I know from comments I've been getting, and both publicly and DMs, I know there have been some questions about the books, about my future plans. What book comes next? Will there be more of the Across the Pond? So I hope that this video has answered some of those questions. Any other questions, let me know, and I will add them to that future Q&A video that I would like to film. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. It definitely helps with the algorithm and helps with my channel. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. That is also really appreciated. Say hi in the comments, and also our word of the day in honor of my next book, put brave in the comments if you have made it to the end of this, or give me some British flag emojis. I need a Big Ben emoji. Like, I really do. I just feel like that is one I would use a lot. Like, we need an Eiffel Tower emoji and like other like iconic landmarks around the world. Like, Apple needs to get on that. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!